Lizzie, you're here to tell us a good news story, aren't you?
That's right. I'm going to tell you about Nzambi Mate, a Kenyan engineer who is fighting against plastic pollution. Nzambi has set up a company called Jijenge Makers, which turns plastic waste into building blocks. The blocks are currently just for paths and playgrounds, but one day she hopes to make blocks for building houses.
What a great idea! Why did Nzambi get involved in the fight against plastic pollution?
Well, Nzambi's hometown, Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, produces around 2,400 metric tons of rubbish every day. 500 tons of that is plastic waste, and very little is recycled. Other countries export plastic waste to Kenya, which adds to the problem. Nzambi was tired of seeing so much plastic everywhere, so she set up Jijenge Makers.
Does the company collect the plastic off the streets then?
Not from the streets, no. Instead, Nzambi goes to packaging factories and collects the plastic that the factory has thrown away. Jijenge Makers also buys plastic from recycling companies if necessary. Obviously, the first option is better because the plastic is free.
That makes sense. So, how does Nzambi's company turn the plastic into building blocks?
First, the workers at Jijenge Makers separate any metal or other materials from the plastic they have collected. Then they heat it so that it melts. A machine mixes sand with the heated plastic. Then another machine presses the mixture and cuts it into blocks.
Right. What's the difference between one of Nzambi's blocks and a normal stone building block?
To start with, they aren't as heavy as stone building blocks, but they're much stronger. The plastic blocks don't break when you drop them. And, of course, Nzambi's blocks are much cheaper.
That sounds ideal then. How does Nzambi see the future of Jijenge Makers?
The company currently makes between 1,000 and 1,500 blocks per day, but Nzambi wants to make more. She'd like to make blocks for building houses, too. She hopes that one day all the countries in Africa will use her blocks, not only for building, but also to help solve the plastic problem.
That's a great news story, Lizzie. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
My pleasure.